Hello, my name is Michelle Maricos. I am a peer support specialist for chronic pain and a person living with chronic pain. Today we're going to be talking about pain flare-ups. Pain flare-ups. What is a flare-up? For people living with chronic pain, flare-ups are common. A flare-up is when your pain becomes suddenly much more intense than your pain that you have day to day. Sometimes a pain flare-up lasts only a few minutes or hours, and sometimes it can last for days. Sometimes it is clear what caused the pain flare-up, and other times it can come out of nowhere. You might be worried that you've done something to injure yourself and whether if you should go to the emergency room. It is important to realize that pain flare-ups are temporary and you will recover over time. The best way to deal with flare-ups is to plan ahead. In this section, we'll talk about what can cause or trigger a flare-up, what to do when you are having a flare-up, how you can plan ahead to avoid or minimize flare-ups, and we will build your own personal flare-up kit. Have a flare-up plan. You will be able to handle a flare-ups better if you can plan ahead. We suggest to have a plan with 3 parts. Part 1, learn what my triggers are. Be a detective. Try and avoid them when possible. What to do when I'm having a flare-up? How can I avoid flare-ups? And what can cause a flare-up? Flare-ups can be caused by a variety of things. Everyone is different. It is important to know what your triggers are and come up with ways to avoid the triggers. As we go over these triggers, think of which ones apply to you. We will ask you later to list them in your flare-up plan. Stress. Stress is a common trigger for flare-ups. This stress can come from interactions with your family, stress from work, worries about your pain. Think about the things that are causing you stress in your life. Is stress a factor in your flare-ups? Overdoing some activity. When you're feeling good, sometimes you can overdo things. This can be something simple like moving boxes around the house, doing a lot of shopping in one day, or playing with your children or grandchildren. Medication changes. If you change how much pain medication you use, either taking more or less than prescribed can lead to a flare-up. It is important to take your medication as prescribed. If you are tempted to take more pain medication for a flare-up, talk to your doctor about the medications you take safely. Food you eat and lack of hydration. Several foods can cause inflammation that can trigger a flare-up. Some artificial sweeteners, saturated fats, cheese, pizza, red meat, and full dairy products. Also processed meats, sausage, ham, smoked meat, drinking excessive alcohol. Dehydration can cause flare-ups and is very common with people living with chronic pain. Hormonal changes in women. Menstruation, pregnancy, or menopause can cause flare-ups. Be aware and track changes in menstruation and menopause cycles. Other factors that can aggravate flare-ups. Poor sleep, change in weather, change in seasons, and holidays. What do I do when I'm having a flare-up? Well, I practice relaxation techniques. When you're feeling stressed and anxious, try some relaxation strategies, such as deep breathing. Simple, deep breathing for several minutes quiets the body's emergency response system, which triggers pain. Gentle yoga, meditation, and mindfulness are also helpful to calm the body's and brain's response to pain. Use heat and cold. Cold packs or heat packs may help with your flare-up. Positive self-talk. It is easy to be negative or angry and feel that your situation is hopeless. Negative self-talk can make a flare-up worse. But remember, you've had flare-ups before and you've recovered. Think of some reassuring phrases to say to yourself, like, I can do this. This won't last forever. It never does. I can get through this and I'm okay. Find a saying that works for you. Change your schedule. When you're managing through a flare-up, it is important to use your time and energy to reduce the duration and severity of your flare-up. Distract yourself. Find something to take your mind off your pain. Watch TV, listen to music, play a video game, chat on social media, listen to a podcast, use some photography, work on a craft or some form of art, play with your favorite pet, find something that you will enjoy. Get some rest, but keep moving. Some rest is essential, but avoid long periods in bed or on the couch. The body heals more quickly and you will feel better if you keep moving. Try some gentle stretching. Walk down the hall or go sit outside. Try a little Tai Chi or yoga. Remember to keep your movements gentle and not to cause more pain. During a flare-up, take care of yourself. Are you eating regular meals, drinking enough water, brushing your teeth, and showering? It can help your mood and your pain if you practice basic self-care. And be careful to take your medications regularly. Self-care is the best care. Keep connected with friends and family. You may want to isolate yourself from others, but when you are by yourself, you sometimes focus more on your pain. Text a friend. Engage in social media. Ask someone to come and visit. Talk to your pain support group. If you've had other friends who have had the experience with pain or a pain support group, then you can talk freely to those who understand what you are going through. Ask for help when you need it. Let your close friends or family know if you need help. If you need something done and can't do it yourself, ask if they would help. What can I do to avoid or minimize a flare-up? Pay attention to your triggers. You probably have a good idea about your pain flare-up triggers. Pay attention to when you see things happening around you that can trigger a flare-up. Try and deal with these situations before they cause the flare-up. Be a detective. Investigate your flare-ups. Make a journal. We recommend keeping a journal of all of your flare-ups. Note down, what are my triggers? What else is happening in my life? Is there work deadlines, family issues, the weather got worse, money problems? Did you get some bad news? Did I overdo some activities? What did I eat in the last 2 meals? Did you have changes in your medication? Stop taking your medication or took more than prescribed? Each time you document your flare-up, you are likely to learn something about the possible causes and what helped to get over that flare-up. Get regular movement. Simple things can cause a flare-up. For example, if you have back problems, but you don't do any movement, then just bending over can cause a flare-up. Pace yourself. Many times a flare-up is caused because we are overdoing something. We can feel okay at the time, but pay for it later with a flare-up. Improve your diet and stay hydrated. In our section on nutrition, we've covered several types of foods that cause inflammation that can lead to a flare-up, and drink plenty of water. Get better sleep. People with chronic pain often have difficulty sleeping. A lack of sleep can aggravate and amplify a pain flare-up. It will help with your pain generally and make flare-ups less likely. Create a pain flare-up kit. When you're in the middle of a flare-up, the pain can be overwhelming. It can be difficult to think straight, so we recommend that you create your own personal flare-up kit. We suggest you get a box and label it with big letters, Flare Up Kit. The contents of the flare-up kit. My flare-up triggers. Make a list of all your triggers that can cause you to have a flare-up and what you can do to avoid or minimize these triggers. What to do when you're having a flare-up. Create a list of things that you can do to minimize your flare-up. We gave you several suggestions. Pick which one of these will work for you and come up with your own suggestions. My flare-up day schedule. Make a schedule of things that you can do on a flare-up day. Include self-care, when to take your medications, when to take rest breaks, gentle activities that get you moving, fun things to do that are distracting, and friends that you can contact. Suggestions of what to put in your flare-up kit. Your flare-up journal with details of previous flare-ups, books, magazines, comics, craft supplies for simple 1-hour projects, lists of funny movies that you really enjoy watching, lists of your favorite music, maybe create a playlist of your favorites. Load some mindfulness and meditation apps on your phone. Movement videos, gentle yoga, tai chi, or stretching. Humor, jokes, pictures, remember the good days. Gift cards to restaurants or movies to get out of the house as a distraction. Cards, uplifting from friends and family, and blank cards to write to your friends and family. Heat pads or ice packs, have them in the freezer.
Could you talk a little bit about flare-ups, how you understand flare-ups, how you work with them,
Okay.
that you could share with other people?
Certainly. Well, I have kind of two different kinds of flare-ups. There's the stuff that's sort of more everyday for me. The second kind of flare-up that I have are the ones that are more sudden and just kind of out of nowhere. Those usually come on more in times of stress, family stress, work stress, whatever, that'll bring that kind of thing on. So for my healthcare strategy, I remember it by my hand. There's breath and there's water, food, exercise, and rest. And then this one is sort of the relational component, family, and then just dealing with the stresses in your life, you know.
Like what helps bring you back to balance from a flare-up?
Well, my car always had gauges. So I have to be sensitive to myself to know when things are happening, what my response is. What do I need? Do I need to talk to someone? Do I need to sleep better? So if I need to talk to someone, I will. If I need to structure my eating habits better, I will. If I need to sleep well, I will. And all of those tools that you've taught me are things that have to be connected together. So all of those things that you're teaching me are my gauges now to get back to resiliency again.
Yeah.
We've created a handout that summarizes suggestions from this video. The first page shows things that you can do to minimize a flare-up. Page 2 shows how you can reduce the chance of having a flare-up, as well as ways to prepare for and manage a flare-up. Page 3 helps you create your own flare-up plan to manage future flare-ups. The last page is a form that you can take notes about each flare-up. You can learn from each flare-up how to avoid or minimize future flare-ups. Thank you so much for listening. I know pain flare-ups can be difficult. I hope that these suggestions really help you. Good luck.